here. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Book Nook. I love that you're here, and let's talk about another book. This is I love a memoir. A memoir. What is it though? I mean, really, memoir, and you've got that base word memory in it. So it's nonfiction, and it is a memory. It comes from the French word memoir. I'm not probably saying that right, but anyway, in the simplest sense, it's a deep dive into a memory. The author remembers something or is reflecting on an experience from their life. In our library, many of our memoirs are in the biography section, but they might be in other places too. This one in particular is from the author's life in 6th grade. Today, Rex Ogle is a very successful person. He's a comic book writer and he's an artist. He said growing up, he was immensely ashamed of his situation, both in regards to his family's socioeconomic status, as well as the domestic violence that occurred on a regular basis in his family. He felt that writing this book, he could help kids and adults who also experienced poverty or were living with abusive adults, and he could help them feel less alone. So when he was in 6th grade, he had a very difficult year, and he's getting ready for the first day of 6th grade, and he has a list of what he thinks he needs. And then the night before, he ticks off his mom's boyfriend, and he ends up with black eyes. Unfortunately, at school, this makes a bad impression, and his teachers think that he's the one that is the problem. But he's not going to tell them what's really going on at home. Even worse, at lunchtime, his mother tells him that she's signed him up for the free lunch program. And so he goes into the lunch line and he goes to pay, but the lunch person doesn't have very great hearing. And so when he says OGLE, as far as, spelling his name out, she doesn't understand, and he has to raise his voice so that the other kids that are waiting in line, and he's holding everything up and he's mortified, so he yells out that he's on free lunch. And all of his classmates, most of them, are pretty well off and realize that he's not in the same boat and that his parents can't afford to pay for his lunch, so they aren't very nice to him either. And so he sits down and he feels alone and dejected, and he wonders how much worse can things get. Well, they do get worse before they get better, and it's heartbreaking, and you wonder how he's going to make it through this year at all. But he likes drawing, and he makes comics, and he tries to find kids that will treat him well, even though he's got it much harder than they do. If you want to read a real-life story of what someone else's life is like, conditions in poverty and a tough home situation, then you should definitely take a look at this book and imagine the courage that it takes to be Rex. In writing this book, Rex Ogle says that his one true hope is that it helps someone know that they're not alone and that it's okay to be poor. It doesn't define you. Read his true school story and then look around your classrooms and knowing that there are lots of untold stories like Rex Ogle's all around you. Read this story if you're interested in comic books. Read this story if you're interested in what it's like to be or have a fellow outsider. Read this book if you are also figuring out what it's like and not letting temporary circumstances define you. Get bookish with free lunch and get bookish with memoirs in general. They are often better than fiction because they say real life is better than fiction. Thanks for joining me today, and I'd love it if you would give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time with another book.